talk about toxic traits, part 1. Hello, and welcome to the TA Suyt Show. I am Tiffany, aka TA Suyt. That's Suyt with a Y and not an I. You can see all the many different things that I'm doing, including books, merchandise, quotes, what have you, at tasuyt.com. Just look in the description box. You will get all that good information. Today, I want to talk about the topic of toxic traits. And you should know what this is all about. If you don't, then I'm just going to throw out a few. This is a very, very vague, very big topic. So it's not like I could just narrow it down to this is the one little category of toxic traits. It's not true. There's so many toxic traits. And for all you know, you're probably surrounded by somebody or people who are displaying these traits and you don't even realize that it's actually toxic. And so that's why I thought I'd just touch on the matter for a few. And I want to give you some quotes from my book, my latest book. It's called A Very Tiny Book of Very Big Quotes. On sale now. Again, go to tasuyt.com. You can get all the information on where to order those online. But let's start with a quote. Let's talk about it. And then we'll just go from there. All right. So quote number 1. People can do either one of 3 things for you. They can either hold you back, push you forward, or keep you stuck. So what are the people around you doing for you? If the majority of people surrounding you are mostly holding you back or keeping you stuck, it's about time you start making some adjustments, but only you will know what the adjustments will look like. So let's sum up that quote in layman's terms. It doesn't matter if you are surrounded by family members, friends, co-workers, complete strangers on the streets, neighbors, what have you. People really do fall into these 3 categories. They're either going to push you forward because they're good people and they want to see the best for you, and they're going to make sure that they're pushing you in the right direction because they want the best for you, because they're those kind of people. And then there's the other kind of people, which gets into the whole topic of toxic traits. And that's the people who hold you back and the people who keep you stuck. So you really got to ask yourself, am I surrounded by people who are constantly pushing me forward? Or am I surrounded by people who are keeping me stuck or are holding me back? And by holding me back, I mean people who are negative, who are bringing up stuff that is making you fearful of pushing forward or doing something you always wanted to try, or going after your goal or your dream, because you're surrounded by negative Nancys who aren't doing, let's be honest, too great in their own lives. And misery loves company, so they want to keep you stuck where they are. Are you surrounded by these people? And again, there's many different categories of these people. It does not matter their age. It doesn't matter their gender. It doesn't matter if they're related to you or not. These people can be surrounded by you. And remember the last sentence of this quote. It says, but only you will know what the adjustments will look like. You need to make adjustments if you are constantly surrounded by people who are keeping you stuck or holding you back. Only you are going to know what that looks like. Maybe it's not realistic for you to say, hey, I live in a house with some toxic people who are holding me back or keeping me stuck, but financially I can't move out. That's completely understandable. That's realistic. So realistically, maybe you can't just up and leave the people who are keeping you stuck or holding you back, who are negative Nancys. That's all right. That's not going to be your adjustment. But maybe somebody else who also is in that same predicament can. And they can get up and move and leave, or at least take a break from these people. Sometimes distance and space is a good thing, and it's not always a bad thing. So you can't always say it is. Sometimes you do, as a human, as a person, get fed up with the type of situation you're in or the type of energies that are around you. And sometimes you need to just think about yourself and put yourself first and make some adjustments that's going to leave you more happy and more fulfilled and feeling like you got a sigh of relief. So if you're able to do that, maybe that's the adjustment you will make. And sometimes you have to compromise with your adjustments. Maybe you can't get up and leave, but maybe you can ignore them. You can create your own space. There's some times where you can just, go out, take a walk, focus on other things or that isn't those negative people who are bringing negativity into your life. So it's very possible that you are surrounded by people who are like that. And we all kind of are. And that's okay. Again, we know the adjustments that we need to be making that's going to leave us more happier and more fulfilled. And if you haven't thought about that yet, maybe you should. And again, make those adjustments. There's nothing wrong with that. If they truly care about you, they will understand why you are making these adjustments, setting some boundaries, creating some distance and space, and they won't be angry at you for it. But if they are, again, maybe you're in the right for creating this distance and space and boundaries because these people are holding you back or keeping you stuck. So you're completely right to do what you're doing. They're just proving the point. So then the second quote is this: be careful of people that communicate with you only when they're in need of something. No balanced relationship can be built on an uneven foundation. Ask yourself if these individuals also constantly do for you when you ask. But most importantly, what are these individuals doing for themselves? Think about it. I'm gonna read it again because this is like pretty deep if you think about it. So really listen to the words that I'm saying. Be careful of people that communicate with you only when they're in need of something. No balanced relationship can be built on an uneven foundation. Ask yourself if these individuals are also constantly doing for you when you ask. But most importantly, what are these individuals doing for themselves? Do you know these people? Going back to that first quote, it doesn't matter if these people are related to you. It doesn't matter if you're dating this person, if you're married to this person, if they're your children, if they're your neighbors, if they're your co-workers for over 10 years. Are these people only communicating with you mostly because they're in need of something from you? That's toxic. If they're not genuinely checking in on you, asking you how you're doing, pushing you forward, letting you know that everything's going to be all right, they're in your corner, but instead they reach out when it's convenient for them, and when they communicate, they got their hands out. If you know these people, we're going back to quote number 1. Are these the type of people that's holding you back or keeping you stuck? Because I see these people are displaying some toxic traits that you need to start making some adjustments in your life with those people and setting some boundaries up. I know these people. They exist. They are out there. And it doesn't mean that they're horrible people or that they're bad people, but they do display these traits. And especially if you're a person like me who feels like you're constantly doing for others all the time, it can get exhausting. It can get very exhausting. You can get tired and feel burdened and weighed down by all the different things you have to do for others. But when you're exhausted, tired, and weighed down, do those other people also step up and help you out when they see that you're in need? It's not balanced. It's not balanced if they're constantly doing that. You talking to them and they're holding out their hands wanting a favor, asking you for something, but you're not constantly asking them for something, asking them for favors, but you do it because you're a kind person and you do it anyways. But then later on you feel exhausted, you feel The weight on your shoulders, you feel like you're doing so much. And they can see it, but they don't try to do anything for you. Guess what? These people are displaying toxic traits. Time to start making some adjustments. We're going into quote number 3 now. Goes like this. Look, some people are just plain stubborn. Unless you know their stubborn ways are going to hurt them or someone else, it's kind of not your job to change their mind. You can only tell them once, and if they don't get it, then it's their lesson to learn. And don't feel bad about it either. After all, you did try to warn them. I'm sorry, but that's where I'm at right now. It's not mean. It's not spiteful to let people learn their own lessons, because if you warned them, if you tried, it's not your job to keep telling people what they should be doing in their lives to improve themselves or to get more positivity in their lives, to do better. You can only tell them once. If they hard-headed, they hard-headed. You can't do anything about it. I'm sorry. Because that's not your life. Ultimately, it's theirs. So tell them. Tell them, hey, look, if you don't stop drinking, something bad could happen. Something bad happens. Hey, did you not warn them? Did you not tell them? Was that still their choice to do that? Well, that's on them. And I know it sounds mean. It sounds really spiteful, especially if you're close to this person. That's your family member. That's your best friend and your road dog and all that. You love them. And I get it. I understand. I am that person who do warn people when I see them about to mess up and I see the hole in front of them. I'm like, you're going to step into that hole if you don't pay attention. But ultimately, I can't grab them, physically move them out of the way so that they can do something differently. I can't be the one who's in control of their life. They're ultimately in control of their own. People are ultimately in control of their own lives, and they make their choices, good or bad. They learn their lessons, good or bad. It ultimately falls on them. And the same thing for yourself. You're living your life for you. And yes, we are all sent on this earth to serve. We are servants, and we do this. We help each other out, but we can't help each other out to the point that we know that person is stubborn and they're just not going to get the lesson anyway from us. Well, then that's okay. The universe is going to give you the lesson regardless. It ain't got nothing to do with us anymore. We tried. I tried to warn you, but if you didn't listen the first time around, all right then. And I'm human, okay? So I'm on both ends of the spectrum. There's times where I am the person who's doing the warning, and there's times where people tell me things and I don't want to listen because I'm the baby and I'm hard-headed and I want to do what I want to do, and bam. I wish I listened to my elder siblings or whoever else was telling me these things, and I'm like, damn, okay, all right. And I can't blame them. I can't blame them because they did warn me. They did put it out there. That was up to me to change my behaviors to prevent that fall. But I didn't. I kept going. I got cocky, got prideful, and look what happened. So you can't feel bad if you warn them. You know, even if you just warn them one time, you can't feel terrible. You did warn them, you did try, and you did it because you genuinely cared and you wanted to see the best for them and you wanted good things to happen. But whatever they did, ultimately, it falls on them. Again, we're living our lives for ourselves, and they got to live for themselves as well. And that's the choices they made. They made their bed, they got to lie in it. So once they get the lesson, if they learn from it, maybe they'll thank you for trying to warn them. But I wouldn't hold my breath. People are not always like that. But it is what it is. It's okay. You can try. Quote number 4. People who really care about you will not constantly bring extra burdens and drama into your life. Pay attention to the ones who are actually considerate of you. If they care about you, then keeping you happy and peaceful is one of their goals. This one is huge. So huge, I'm going to repeat it real quick again because this is a big one. Pay attention. People who really care about you will not constantly bring extra burdens and drama into your life. Pay attention to the ones who are actually considerate of you. If they care about you, then keeping you happy and peaceful is one of their goals. Do you know people like this? When you talk to them, they can start the conversation with, how are you? How's the family? How the kids? And you tell them how they are. And maybe things aren't going bad in your life and you're doing good. However, things are going bad in their life. So here they come with their drama. And they got to tell you about the whole situation that happened in this past couple of days with them. And you're like, dang, I just told you how good things are going for me. For once, I got some normalness going on. Things are good. I'm feeling okay. Kids are fine. Health is good. Job is fine. And here they come with their burdens now. And they're going to throw it on you. Because again, misery likes company. And again, if you're supposedly a friend or a family member or somebody who's close to you, somebody who works with you day in and day out, but they're okay with throwing those kind of burdens on you, burdens that has nothing to do with you because your life is Gucci right now, but they throw it on you anyway. Guess what? These people do not care about you as much as they say they do. All they care about is misery likes company. You said you supposedly my friend or my family member or my whatever, my mate. And now look what's going on. I got all this going on in my life, so boom. That means it's going on in your life too. Let me throw all these burdens on you as well. Let me tell you about all the bad stuff going on. So let me drag your day down. Are you going to do something about it? You going to help me out? You going to do this? You going to do that? And it's like, okay. Again, I'm a nice person and I care about you, but wow. Look what you just did. Look at the drama you just brought in my life. I don't need to know about the relationship dramas you got going on. If I genuinely know I can't do anything to solve this or make it better, what's the point of even telling me? I can't. And I get it. I understand if people are going through something, they just need a shoulder to cry on. They need a listening ear. Be a friend. Be in their corner. But man, if they're doing this every single conversation, they're doing this constantly all the time. They want you to constantly be down because they are constantly down. And it's like they don't even ever come with good news. They always got something going on. Some kind of drama going on constantly. You might need to start making some adjustments. We might need to set some boundaries. We might need to say we're busy or put some distance between us or just be honest with them. I'm the one who's, let's be honest. I'm not going to lie and make excuses. Oh, I'm busy. I can't talk to you right now. I'm going to tell you, last time we talked, you were negative. You got a lot going on. So it seems like you need to figure that out. I can't help you figure that out, but you're going to figure that out. You and the Lord, y'all going to figure that out. And after you do, and you're back in your happy place, reach out. Call me. We can talk. We can hang. But I don't know how to help you. I can only do so much. Or if you're that person who tries to help them and you give them advice, but they still want to be negative anyway because you're like, I could drive you this place. Maybe I can borrow you this money, or maybe I can, and they don't care anyways, and they still just want to be negative, and then they still like the burden of life, and they still going through their shit, and they still want you to go through it, and it's like, well, dang, I thought I was helping. I just gave you some really solid advice on what you could do. I'm sorry you and your boyfriend going through something, but I just gave you some real good advice on what y'all could do, and you still ain't taking my advice. You just still rather complain about it. Okay, there you go. Some people don't want help. Sometimes they just want to complain. And that happens too. Sometimes they just want to bitch and complain about certain things. Again, maybe you can help them, maybe you can't. And maybe they refuse to let you help them and they don't listen anyways. And they just want to bring you down because they're down. And then they get mad sometimes if you ain't feeling down and things are going Gucci for you, but it's not for them. Look, more of the story is toxic trait alert, red flag. Might want to pay attention to that. Might want to, make some adjustments because you need to be happy. It's about you, your time, your energy, your space. You keep you happy. Once you're happy, then you can make the ones around you feel better as well. But you can't be constantly worrying about other people. They got to figure their stuff out. Just like you got to figure out yours. Ultimately, it falls on you. Tell them I'm praying for you. Tell them to give it to the Lord. You ain't the Lord. You can't solve all them problems. That's all you can do. I'm here for you, but that's all I can do. Can't do no more than that. Just saying. Quote number 5, and it's the final quote. Toxic traits. This one says this. What good is keeping these people in your inner circle if they're not trustworthy or dependable? Because if you're just keeping them around, not to feel lonely or because you've known them since forever, then those really aren't good reasons to hang on to somebody. Right? Which kind of gets into the point of what we were just talking about with quote number 4. And pretty much all the quotes, it sums it up like that. This is kind of like the sum up for this toxic trait topic. Part 1. Yeah, I said part 1 because I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a lot on toxic traits. If you notice, there's just so many toxic traits out there. Let's just keep it real. So there's a possibility I might do a couple of these. But again, it ends off with this. Look, it doesn't matter if you knew this person since the 2nd grade. It don't matter if they're your mama and your daddy. It don't matter if you're related. It don't matter if you work together over 10 years. It don't matter if you're your own child. People are negative or not trustworthy or dependable. And they're really not doing anything for you. But you're constantly doing for them. But they're really not benefiting you. And you're starting to notice in this dynamic, it's imbalanced. It's completely imbalanced. You're the one who's doing the most. You're the one who's actually feeling bad because of all the time and energy you have to give to this other person and all their negative energy. Guess what? They're toxic. It don't matter how long you knew them. It don't matter what the dynamic is. It's time to start making some adjustments. It's about you. And I know it sounds selfish, but it's not. Because ultimately, we have to put ourselves first. It's not, let's just cut everybody off and do nothing for anybody else in the world. It's not like that. It's when you notice that other people are toxic around you, you got to put yourself first. Your time, your space, your energy, your mental health, your physical health. All these things got to come first. Your happiness, your joy, you come first. And if you notice that people and things, that job, that person, that item, whatever it is, that car that's keep messing up all the time, the house that constantly needs repair. If you notice these things are constantly getting down on you and it's weighing you down, you've got to understand that it's got some toxic things around you and you got to start making some adjustments so that you feel better. It's about your happiness, your joy, how to get more inside of you. Positivity is the main goal. You want this constantly around you. You don't need the burdens of the world because the world is constantly going to be filled with burdens and they're constantly going to be throwing it in your way. It does not mean Just because the world is going through stuff constantly, that it's okay for it to throw it on your shoulders. That's not true. You don't have to keep these people around you all the time, or even in your life period, if you know they're no good for you. Sometimes you gotta detach from certain things, certain people, certain energies, so that you can feel better and ultimately take care of yourself. Your joy, your happiness, it comes first. Alright? I'm T.A. Suyt. This is the topic of toxic traits. I'll be back in the next video. We'll talk about some other things and we'll talk some more, okay? Alright. So pay attention. What's going on in your life. If there's any people or things that are toxic, and ask yourself, what adjustments do I need to start making so that I'm more happier and more fulfilled? Alright? Alright. I'll see you in the next one. Now don't forget to like, share, subscribe, or follow.